I want to tell you another little story. The technology most despised by what I call the envirostatist, that's these radical environmentalists, is the automobile. Because it provides the individual with a tangible means to exercise his independence through mobility, as I point out in Liberty and Tyranny. Starting with the Arab oil embargo of 1973, in which the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, or OPEC, cut oil exports to the United States for supporting Israel in the Yom Kippur War, the automobile has been relentlessly demonized as the enemy of the environment. That's true, don't you think? Among the government's responses to the embargo was the imposition of corporate average fuel economy, or CAFE standards, on automobiles in 1975. Its proponents argued that more efficient cars would cut gasoline use, thereby reducing reliance on foreign oil and pollution. But this position was always counterintuitive. More efficient cars reduce the per-mile cost of driving, enabling consumers to pay less than they otherwise would for driving more. So people didn't drive less, they drove more, because they got better mileage per gallon. In fact, the CAFE standards have not reduced Americans' importation of oil at all. 1970, the United States imported about 20% of its oil, compared with over 60% or so today. And while better fuel economy produces more emissions resulting from more driving, CAFE standards were never going to make a significant impact on greenhouse gas emissions. The Heritage Foundation noted that cars and light trucks subject to fuel economy standards make up only 1.5% of all global man-made greenhouse gas emissions. Although CAFE standards have failed to reduce gasoline consumption or significantly improve the environment, they have succeeded in killing tens of thousands of human beings. The reason? The laws of physics. In order to meet the per-gallon fuel efficiency standards set by Congress, the automobile industry has been forced to reduce the size and weight, that is, the mass, of vehicles. So automobiles and light trucks contain more plastic and aluminum than ever before. Their human occupants are more vulnerable to injury and death for most kinds of accidents. The evidence proves the point. In 1989, analysts at the Brookings Institution in Harvard, not exactly two right-wing organizations, estimated that 2,000 to 3,900 lives are lost and 20,000 serious injuries occur each year in traffic accidents resulting from smaller, lighter cars. The Competitive Enterprise Institute examined 1997 traffic fatality data and concluded that CAFE standards caused between 2,600 and 4,500 deaths in 1997. In 1999, USA Today analyzed the statistical link between CAFE standards and traffic fatalities, and listen to this, and reported that 46,000 people have died in crashes they would have survived in bigger, heavier cars since 1975. So in a 24-year period, 46,000 people in America died who would have survived, but for CAFE standards. In 2001, a National Academy of Sciences panel reported that the downweighting and downsizing of light vehicles in the 1970s and early 80s, partly due to CAFE standards, probably resulted in an additional 1,300 to 2,600 traffic fatalities in 1993. More Americans are killed and maimed each year from CAFE standards than American soldiers were killed on the battlefield in Iraq in each individual year. Yet what is the envirostatist response to this carnage? Well, in 2007, Congress mandated that each automobile manufacturer's passenger vehicles that will get 35 miles per gallon by 2020. And Obama, by fiat, has ordered that they get over 50 miles per gallon. More plastic, more aluminum, smaller and smaller, not just cars now, but trucks. Very light, very deadly. Now, Mark, why are you talking about CAFE standards? Because more Americans are slaughtered on the roads in this country as a result of government policies. Government policies. Now, think about that. When Joe Biden and Barack Obama say that if their policy as to guns, whatever it is, would save just one life, then those policies are worth it. What about DDT? Millions dead. Well, that's different. What about CAFE standards? Tens of thousands killed. Oh, that's different. How so? We've talked about the constitutional protections, that is, for you vis-a-vis the federal government. That's what the Bill of Rights are all about. And your rights go beyond the Bill of Rights, as the Ninth Amendment reminds us, and as the Declaration of Independence clearly reminds us, that your human rights are God-given, not Obama-given, not Biden-given. The right to defend yourself against all evil, whether it's government, I mean evil, people who are trying to kill you or destroy you, against people trying to break into your home, is an unalienable right. Now, most people aren't going to do this, but when you read many of the great philosophers from the Enlightenment upon Western civilization, upon which it was built, like, among my favorites, John Locke makes it very clear that your right to live is the source of everything that you do. The reason we have a family is so our family line, our bloodline continues. And so we protect our loved ones and our family with our own lives. The reason we have a home is to shelter us from the elements, of course. But the elements are not just the natural elements, the weather and so forth. It's to protect us from other people. That's why we have locks on our doors. That's why we have doors, period, and windows and so forth. The reason why supposedly we have this massive administrative state, this Leviathan that gets into all these things, is to protect us from bad food, right? Bad water, bad air, defective automobiles, and so forth and so on. So what? We don't kill ourselves or harm ourselves. And yet, when it comes to gun ownership, their real goal is to take your weapons away. That's the real goal. They want to control it, and ultimately they want to ban, because that's what the government does, controls and then bans. So the right to life, you protect that in many ways, including with weapons. The right to property, you protect that in many ways, including with weapons. Somebody goes into an elementary school and slaughters 20 babies and 6 adults, 6 brave adults. What does that have to do with denying me my right to protect myself against all enemies, all comers who would seek to kill me or my family? You see, there's no connection whatsoever. None. None. You see, there's no connection between DDT and the science, the phony science that was used, and the banning of it. There's no connection with the CAFE standards and pollution or oil usage, or more importantly, the saving of lives. The CAFE standards kill people. The banning of DDT kills people. And this incredible effort, this aggressive effort with the media propaganda and the political propaganda to control weapons that have as their sole purpose nonviolent use, unless, of course, somebody shoots at you first, is of the same character and design. There's absolutely no connection between what they claim they want to do and what they're doing to you. I've heard news reports now using the propaganda of the administration to control gun violence. They want to control gun violence. Well, they don't. You want to control gun violence, you round up everybody and you put them in a gulag. Do you see that? No more gun violence. They don't want to control gun violence. They want to control us. They want to control us. And, of course, the fact of the matter is, the nut job who killed all those people in Connecticut, there was never any way to stop him. Unless, of course, somebody had a weapon at that elementary school, and once he started shooting, shot him dead right there and then. That's what the police would have done if they'd gotten there in time. And by the way, I'm not condemning the police. It's just a simple fact that it takes time for them to respond, whether it's 20 seconds or 20 minutes. So what our government seeks to do, what the Connecticut government seeks to do, what the New York government seeks to do, what all the blue staters and all the big federal types want to do, is ban your ability to stop that murder. Is to ban your ability to protect yourself, to protect your family, to protect strangers who are innocents. There was another shooting at a school today. A student shot another student right away. The anti-Second Amendment, the anti-liberty, the pro-gun control crowd saying, see that. And I said to myself, yes, see that. The guy was talked down from shooting other people, but if there was a trained, armed individual in that school, more than one preferably, he would have been put down. But the liberals can't abide that. Just as they can't abide the use of DDT, just as they cannot abide really safe cars. All this talk about seatbelts, okay, I believe that's important, and certain bumpers that can handle 5-mile-an-hour collisions or whatever it is, or certain types of glass in the windows, and certain this and certain that, and a center brake light, and all. Oh, look at all these wonderful things they're doing. They're killing us. in these cars because they're not heavy enough. That's the bottom line. They're not heavy enough. They're killing us. And we applaud them. The ban on DDT, they're killing people. They're killing millions of people, and we applaud them. And now what? We're going to applaud them for controlling law-abiding citizens with their guns?